Hi, this is Guarantee. When will the U.S. recover? Sometimes people ask me what I do, and if I give them a short but explicit description, it is common in recent years for them to next ask me, when will there be an economic recovery? Like they're asking for a guarantee. Maybe you've heard that question or even asked it yourself. I've been asked that particular question, perhaps in slight variations, literally hundreds of times, sometimes by the same person over months and years. In contrast, I have never been asked, again, literally never, to the very best of my knowledge, will there be an economic recovery? Some people have asked me questions that indicate that they already have seen some of the data I've seen and have interpreted it similarly to how I've interpreted it. So I'm not saying I've never talked to someone who, before they talked to me, had already seen some of what I've seen. But when I'm introducing what I do to people, very often they say, "Oh, when will there be an economic recovery?" Apparently, almost no one questions that a recovery must be inevitable. They only want to know if it will arrive in weeks or months, and how many months, or what, like perhaps only hours or minutes. Further, they want me personally to tell them in advance now my answer to their question of when will there be a recovery. They obviously recognize that the recovery they used to think was already happening might not be yet. I think that what they're really asking is, how soon do I think that the U.S. economy will recover, or at least might? In other words, they may want to know how. They may not want to know how long it may be until a recovery, but how soon a recovery might happen. So we got that. Not how long could it last before there's a recovery, but how soon could the recovery come? They're eager, right? So for those of you who share that question, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that the recovery has already started. Isn't that wonderful? The bad news is that the recovery that has already started is not the recovery that people have been asking about. I can explain, hence this presentation. First, though, I'd like to comment on the recovery that they are talking about, the recovery of the U.S. economy. The U.S. economy is based on the actions of the population of the U.S. And actually other people also, that sell things to the U.S. or buy things from the U.S. as imports and exports. In fact, the U.S. economy is nothing other than the action of people of the U.S. and that are doing business with the U.S. outside the U.S. So the U.S. economy will recover when all these people adjust their actions. The recovery will not be delivered by anything other than a revision of the actions of the people of the U.S. and those who do business with the U.S. The recent destabilization, economically, was simply a fluctuation in the behavior of people. Any future stabilization or other change will simply be a fluctuation in the behavior of people. The economy is the behavior of people. So when will the U.S. economy recover? It will recover when the masses of people adjust their behavior toward economical investments of time and talent. If the people do not invest their behavior towards economical investments of time and talent, there would be no return to economical investments of time and talent. No return to economy. No return of a thriving economy. A thriving economy is purely behavioral. It is also not guaranteed. There may be no return to economical behavior in the U.S., and thus no return of a thriving U.S. economy. Now, what are the economical investments of time and talent? Well, which ones are economical change over time. Economical just means an efficient method of producing the valued result. So what, like an economy car, means one that is able to efficiently or at a low cost produce the result of traveling, reliably. So what people are telling me when they ask the question, when will there be a recovery, is that they are waiting for one to arrive. Again, often very eagerly. They're not producing an economic recovery yet. They're asking about how long we have left to wait for one to be delivered to them. They're not economically adjusting their investments of time and talent, or not intentionally. They may be waiting for a thriving economy to be delivered by a politician, or bureaucracy, or by the Federal Reserve, or by Federal Express. No, sir, you won't have to sign for the brand new thriving economy to be delivered No, sir, you won't have to sign for the brand new thriving economy to be delivered directly to you. We'll just leave it at your front door if you're not home. So back to the good news. The recovery has already started. Again, the bad news about this good news is that the recovery that has already started is not the one you ordered to be shipped directly to your door from Washington, D.C. or wherever. Further, since this one did not come by Federal Express, you cannot return it. You are stuck with it. Here is the nature of the recovery that has already started. The purchasing power of the U.S. dollar is already recovering. Wait, that sounds like it might be good news, actually. Why do I say it's bad news? What could be so bad about the U.S. dollar recovering purchasing power? Well, that's also pretty simple. When the U.S. dollar recovers purchasing power, that means fewer dollars can buy more stuff, right? For instance, U.S. dollars now can buy more U.S. real estate than the same number of dollars would buy a few years ago. Or U.S. dollars can buy more of the stock shares of most any U.S. company than they could a few years ago. Or U.S. dollars can buy more of most any commodity than the same number of dollars a few years ago, with the notable exception of gold. Some people say even more wonderful. After the immense decline in the purchasing power of gold from 1980 to 2000, from about $850 to about $240, not adjusted for inflation, the purchasing power of gold for nearly 10 years now has been recovering. Isn't that wonderful? However, that trend may have already ended too. Trends do have that tendency. They eventually end. So let's imagine that someone, perhaps you, were to ask me the following questions. When will the ongoing recovery of the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar end? When will the U.S. dollar resume its long decline of purchasing power? When will the prices of real estate and stocks and commodities rise against the U.S. dollar again? Like they did in, 2003 and 4 and 5. To those questions, I can give a clear, simple, and definitive answer: not yet. More specifically, that's when the recovery of the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar will end. Not yet. More specifically, when the people of the U.S. change how they use U.S. dollars, or since a lot of people outside of the U.S. also use U.S. dollars, when humans change how they use U.S. dollars, then their change of behavior will be a change in their economy. The economy of all of these people is the economy. The behavior of the people is the economy. There is no other economy but behavior. So in the last few years, people are being more economical with their dollars. They're more conservative about spending. This is the recovery. This is the increasing of the valuing by the people of the U.S. dollar through their actual behavior. This is also the decreasing by the people of their valuing of debt and credit. They value actual cash dollars. They are reserved in terms of their actual behavior about getting deeper into debt and also about giving other people more credit. They want other people to pay off their old credit. They value cash way more than IOUs in terms of getting paid. They don't want to give credit to people and be owed money. They They want to get the money now. In prior years, there had been much more aggressive chasing of new debt and issuing of new credit to others. The behavioral trend of pay for it later has peaked and reversed. The behavioral trend of pay for it now has resumed or recovered. Again, this is the recovery. By the way, it is far from over. I'm going to make a separate video for the next portion.